Let's see. Oh yeah, I think we are good to go.
We're streaming.
We are streaming. All right. We might have to fix that real quick.
God, we're falling apart already.
No, it's okay. Oh, wait a second.
Uh-oh.
Did you hit start stream?
I just hit. Yeah, we're still streaming.
Oh, okay. It must be delayed. All right, fine. We're good. All right, we are good.
Oh, God.
All right, welcome back. We made it another week, right? Another week.
Well, we might not after the beginning of this episode. Good
Randy,
God.
we miss you. We'll start with that. Our producer's absent for this one, feeling ill.
Can't even hear nothing here. It's fine.
I am co-host Adam Stone with Josh. Let's get to it. Obviously, we'll start off with some NFL recap. Do you want to start off with the Thursday night game? We have the Arizona Cardinals New Orleans Saints in a 42-34 game.
Actually entertaining.
Actually entertaining. We scored 76 combined points as opposed to the
12.
The trash that we have been coming back. DeAndre Hopkins looked pretty good, right? I mean, he came back. He got all the targets, and the Saints were doing everything to deny him the ball. Now,
that can't be said for the defense. So Andy Dalton was like, "Here, you want the ball? You want the ball?"
Did he had 2 pick sixes, right? Without
in a matter of a minute to end the first half.
What a disgrace that was. And we can get into it now if you want to. Is the NFC South the worst division in football? I mean, we're talking. We'll get into Carolina. We'll get into all that stuff later. But Carolina at 2-5 is 1 game out of first place. The Saints. I think we're in panic mode,
AFC
right?
South might be worse.
Oh, the AFC South's pretty bad. But the Saints, all kinds of problems. They did end up scoring 34 points, but they had all sorts of problems. Yeah, Arizona, who's been struggling to score all year, puts up 42. Obviously, the defense came up big for them.
The defense is, I'm still not sold on that offense. The defense is what gave them a ton of their points right there.
And then also, too, with the Cardinals Saints, the Cardinals are, I believe, 1 game out of first place. We're not buying that, though, right? I mean, I'm not buying it. I don't think they're a very good. I think they're.
That Niners team is still the team to beat in that division. It's not. I mean, unless you want to go. I still don't want to believe Geno Smith is going to win that division, but.
Right?
That's kind of where we're at right now.
I mean, Andy Dalton did put up some big numbers. I mean, he threw for 361 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Yeah. Really, really, really hurt. Olave's real good. He's going to be real good. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a threat for a long, long time. I mean, Taysom Hill's always a unique weapon that you can go around to score some points with him.
The defense is still good, too. Not a great showing against the Cardinals, but it's tough when you get all those points scored against you when you're not in the field. So.
Right, so that always kind of throws it in there.
Especially when he's doing a cartwell or a flip into the end zone behind Andy Dalton. That was so good.
If you haven't seen it, look it up. That's a great video. We'll move on from that game. I want to move into your boy, Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Struggled big time. They did beat Cleveland. They did beat them. Lamar Jackson, 9 out of 16 for 121 yards. Defend your boy.
It's the same type of thing that I've been talking about with the Packers running backs. If the guy's not throwing the ball enough, how do you expect him to get into a rhythm?
Their
number one receiver is their punt returner, by the way. So that should be saying something in itself.
And you know what? At the draft, they trade Hollywood Brown on the Cardinals now, who's hurt, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but you never know what's going to happen. I don't think Bateman played.
Kind of stinks.
Duvernay played.
Duvernay's their best receiver. I mean, Mark Andrews is the only other Mike.
Yeah, we don't have our buddy Mike Andrews here. But are we? I think Cleveland's closer than people realize. I think we wrote them off. Right now they're weathering the storm without Deshaun Watson.
I'm impressed with how Jacoby's been playing. It hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been pretty all the time.
Jacoby at this game was 22 out of 27, 256 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't watch. I watched some of the game. I didn't watch all of the game. But I mean, even Nick Chubb, 16 carries for 91 yards.
Well, he does that on a daily basis.
He wakes up, he falls out of bed, he gets 90 yards. Yeah, right? I mean that
guy's unbelievable.
But I feel like that division, the Cleveland Browns division, they need to be careful. You can't let them hang around because Week 11's coming up sooner rather than later. I'm trying to think. So
and then Joey B and company is still.
Joey B and company's trying to figure it out. when we get to their game, we'll talk whether
I think they're
or not
going to be in
we
the mix
believe
too.
it. But
I think they're going to be in the mix.
So Cleveland did lose, and that was a big loss for them because now they are 2 games back on Baltimore and the 2 games back on Cincinnati.
Yep.
The Cleveland Browns lost 4 in a row. They need to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have lost 4 in a row, but their games are close. I think the games are close. Pittsburgh, I have no faith in Pittsburgh. But I think
the Kenny Pickett experience is kind of fun, though. I don't hate it.
You know,
he almost came back and won that game.
I know we have a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans that watch, and some of them are already done with Kenny Pickett. But it's a second start or third start, whatever.
And I absolutely love George Pickens. He might be my favorite receiver on that team.
Now,
I think I've said it. I think he's got top 10 hands in football. That kid can catch anything.
He had that wild catch again in this game.
He can catch anything.
But let's go back real quick. Cleveland, Baltimore. Are you still buying Lamar Jackson? Are you still paying him?
Yep.
And are you buying them to win the division?
Yes.
You're all in on everything the Ravens are doing. You don't care.
Because right now we got Gus Edwards just came back. He looked very, very healthy.
Gus Edwards looked very good. J.K. Dobbins was down, but I mean he wasn't.
J.K. Dobbins is IR now.
Yeah, IR. He came back. He's hurt now, but he came back. He did okay. He had the one game against Cincinnati where he scored a couple
I don't think he was completely healthy.
He didn't look healthy, and I wonder if putting him on IR again was to a little bit of help with that. But I think Cleveland, if they're within striking distance, they could be a problem. Right now,
we have to see how Deshaun Watson's going to play.
We do have
He might come out and absolutely light the NFL on fire.
I could be wrong, but I believe at the end of this weekend, so after this week coming up, week 8, he gets to start practicing with the team again. I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
Because he's not eligible till I believe the 11th or the 4th, right? November 4th. We looked that up.
Yeah, week 11.
Staying in the division, Cincinnati Bengals put on a showing against the Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. Jamar Chase, Joe Cool, Joe Burrow, whatever you want to call him. Ooh, he had a big game.
Yeah.
He had a big
he looked
game.
really good.
He looked really good. The thing with the Bengals right now, they're 0-2 in their division. If they want to win, they got to beat the teams in their division. I love what they're doing. I think Joey Burrow missing the offseason. He had the emergency surgery. I believe he has appendix out. That was big. Cincinnati, watch out. Watch out.
No, that team's going to be Joe Mixon, underrated as all hell at the running back position. I think he's perennial top 10 running back in football.
Their offensive
he does everything.
Their offensive line is playing better.
They're running the ball well, at least.
They're running the ball slightly better. They still have a long way to go, but I like the Bengals to win that division. I am not sold yet on the Ravens. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I think the Bengals are going to come back and win the division.
Which if that was going to be,
I guess those are the only two. But also too, like I said, the rest of the league's got to make sure Cleveland's not in there because they play decent defense.
And if they're running the football well, that's a recipe for wins in the playoffs.
And we're going to see too if Kareem Hunt gets traded because he wants out. He wants a contract extension. Mm-hmm. They're going to let him bounce around. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with Eagles or maybe the Rams or somebody who needs running back help.
I could see the Rams.
That could be a big one.
Bills would be interesting.
I thought the Jets would be in the mix, but the Jets picked up James Robinson. We can get into that when we get to their game. So let's move on to the the meh. I put meh down for this. So we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. Battling for first place. The Titans now have won 4 in a row. Titans win 19-10. The story coming out of this game. Matt Ryan, not only was he benched, they came out and said Sam Ehlinger's the starter the rest of the way.
Yeah, I saw that. I was a little shocked because, what was it, last week we were just saying that Matt Ryan looked like Matt Ryan again? He
had his, I would say, a big comeback game. I don't know if you want to say it was a big comeback, but he had a very good game. He won them that game without Taylor. Taylor comes back. I know they were limiting his carries and everything, but they lose 19-10. He throws the pick six. Mm-hmm. So Matt Ryan is 3rd in yards, 2nd completion so far this year. And
if you just think you're going to throw, I mean, I love Sam Ehlinger. I loved him ever since he was at Texas. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. But if you expect him to just jump right into that offense and take over the 2nd in completions, the 3rd in yards, it's not going to happen.
So
it's just not going to happen.
And I think I was talking to Caleb earlier, a friend of the show, Caleb, and I guess I didn't realize it, but I kind of did a little research. Is their coach coaching for his job right now? he loses. So
yeah,
this is going to be.
Yeah.
I saw it earlier. His 7th quarterback that he's had starting quarterback. This is a Jim Irsay guy. Ellinger's a big Jim Irsay guy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is they should.
He wanted Carl Wentz to come in last year. He vouched for Carl Wentz.
I feel like this is a move to save his job because I'm assuming at this point, if they don't make the playoffs, Frankie's out of there.
Yeah, and that defense is still good.
The defense is good. Taylor's good. Pittman's playing absolutely incredible.
Like we've said it before. I love Pittman. I think the kid's.
I mean, do they make a couple trades? I mean, this seems like a panic move.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
you just traded all this stuff for Matt Ryan, and you just took on that heavy contract, and now you're just gonna bench him I mean, I guess that's a lot.
I guess the point
that's a lot.
With that, they could cut him and they take no penalty because the Falcons took the penalty when they traded him. For the contracts, but man, I don't know. I don't like the move. I think it's a panic. I still think they're in the division because the Titans have been playing better, but it's not like they're playing out of this world.
No.
It's not like they are destroying teams.
They have Derrick Henry, and that's all they've got going for them.
And Derrick Henry, they gave him the ball 30 times. 30 times he got 120 yards. So, I mean, it's not like it's a super impressive. I mean, it's 4 yards per carry, but you're slamming him into the brick wall. 28, hurt last year. I think it's a panic move by the Colts. I think it's absolutely phenomenal for the Titans because we had no faith in the Titans this year. And
I still don't really have faith in the Titans.
But maybe the Titans, they can pull through. I mean, the rest of that division, I mean, Jacksonville, we'll get into Jacksonville. I think they really blew that game against the Giants. Same thing with Houston Texans. I kind of like the direction the Texans are going. But
they're getting there.
This was a year where
they blew a big game to a struggling Raiders team.
And we'll get into the Jacksonville game next. But I don't know. I thought this was a panic move. Shocked. I think Frankie's coaching for his job right now, and I think this may have just gotten him fired, unless Jim Irsay called him up and said, "Hey, if you don't play my boy Sam, if you don't put Sam in, I'm out of here. You're out of here."
I love Sam, but this seems awful forced, and I don't know. I hope it doesn't ruin the kid because I want to see him do well.
So where are you? I don't. At this point now, I think if you go Ellinger, unless he shocks the world, I think this puts them out of the. This totally puts them out of the playoffs, in my opinion.
It probably does. It probably does, which is really sad to say.
Are we agreeing on that? I mean, I can't believe I'm picking that. I crapped on the Titans in the offseason, and now I'm like, well, I guess they're going to win it by default.
Yeah, because right now, either Taylor has to have the season that he had last year, or Ellinger needs to go absolutely ballistic on everything.
Yeah, but they're only one game. I mean, they're 3-1. Tennessee's 4-2.
Yeah, why are you?
I don't know. I don't get it.
They shouldn't be panicking this badly. It's kind of.
So let's stay in the division. Houston Texans get blown out by the Las Vegas Raiders. The Houston Davis Mills finally had a pretty decent game.
I've always kind of liked him, but he doesn't really have anything around him either.
I mean, you got Dameon Pierce, who I think is going to be a fantastic running back. I think they absolutely struck gold with him.
There's not much else there, though.
I mean, Brandon Cooks, does he deserve better? I mean, that poor guy, I feel like, has been all over. They could not stop the run. I mean, Josh Jacobs did whatever he wanted. I mean, Josh Jacobs, 20 carries for 143 yards, so it was 7.2 yards per carry. But I think
ridiculous.
When I looked at it, and I went through and I like looking at his. Something that I always like to do is I look at their longest run, right, to see how they do theirs. So Josh Jacobs' longest run was 15 yards. So that you start going through, click the play-by-play, click whatever, start looking at the highlights. He's gashing them for 5, 6, 7, 8 yards. Over
consistently.
And over.
That's a lot.
And they just couldn't stop them. And I mean, they're Jordan Akins is their tight end. They got Cooks, Nico Collins. Nico Collins got hurt, but. I don't see much from that team. I think the Texans, they're decently well coached. I think they could be going in the right direction. You just look at their team and they just don't have talent. Like that's really
and they just got rid of DeAndre Hopkins' favorite GM, whatever the pastor there.
But it's like I just don't know. Like
which they should have done a long time ago.
Well, it'll be interesting when they get to the draft because they might end up having two. Seeing where Cleveland ends up, they might have 2 top 10 picks. Like they could really turn that team around.
Yeah.
Raiders, also the Raiders too. I think they just improved the 2-5 by beating them. So 2-4. I'm sorry, I forgot they had the bye already. The Raiders got a long way to go because now they are 2-4. Kansas City's 5-2. The Raiders a playoff team. I mean, we talked about this last week where we thought they were going to struggle, and they are kind of married to the team that they have. I mean, Devontae Adams is okay. Like Derek Carr, I don't know. I think their hope this year is just to run Josh Jacobs into the dirt and hope you can steal enough games to sneak into the playoffs. But
yeah, because they didn't pick up his 5th year either, so they're just going to turn and be like, hey, yeah, you're not going to be on the team next year.
Which
just
is,
absolutely eat the football, please, and just run everywhere.
Because they got, oh man, I mean, because right now currently it's 4-3 is a playoff, right? 4-3, so they are 2-4. They got to turn it around. Like I said, I don't know.
I don't like them to get.
They got all sorts of issues.
Because if the Chargers can't make the playoffs, I don't like them to make the playoffs. So let's leave it that way.
Yeah, the Chargers are a weird team. Well, I guess we'll get to them shortly. We'll get to the Giants-Jaguars game. So I watched that game start to finish.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch any football
this
weekend.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I am a big analytics guy. I will be the first one to admit it. I like all the analytics. I mean, Jacksonville's up 4 points. They elect to go for it in 4th and 1. It looked like there'd be a little bit confusion. Trevor Lawrence gets stuffed. You kick that field goal, you're up 7 points. Giants go down.
Then they have to score a touchdown.
And then even if you kick the field goal there, even if when the Giants go up instead of being up 6, they're up 3.
Yeah.
Kick the field goal, you're tied. Jacksonville, I just don't know if they're Peterson. I don't know.
He's gutsy. He's always been a gutsy coach.
He's always been gutsy, and I just don't know if Jacksonville's the team to be gutsy with. I don't know if that's the right way that I would put that.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Because they should have won that game. They had all... And then there was a great... Dan Orlovsky was on today, ESPN, and he showed the final drive for the New York Giants. So the New York Giants, we're going to get into them in a second. Or I guess we're getting into them now. We're going to decide if they're real or not. They ran the same play 10 straight times. Pulling the guard, running it to the right side, and then if he didn't hand the ball off, Daniel Jones was bootlegging it around. And Jacksonville couldn't stop it. They marched right down the field.
That's incredible. I didn't know any of that. That's
they
unbelievable.
Just put that today. I guess when you're watching it, it's hard because you're like, they're running it. Sweep it to the right side, Jones to the left side.
That's so good.
And then I also wanted to get into with the Giants specifically. I don't know if their style of play is sustainable. Great coach, absolutely great coach. DeBoll has totally turned that team around.
Yeah, he's done so well. He's
turning Daniel Jones into a runner. So Daniel Jones,
which kind of should have happened. We've seen this from him in the past.
But I guess we got to decide how sustainable this. So Daniel Jones had 11 carries for 107 yards, right? Saquon Barkley 24 carries, 110. He was very consistent. I mean, it also helps that he's running 2-3 yards before he gets touched. That also helps. So Daniel Jones, 19 out of 30, 202 yards. Touchdown, decent game. I just don't know if that's playoff football.
If he's not turning the ball over, I think it is.
I mean,
if he can keep the ball in his team's hands, I think it is.
And are we worried though that when it's time for them to throw the ball, are we worried? I mean,
he's made a couple big throws when he's needed to already.
And I mean, I look at the receivers now. I think Wendell.
I don't know how they're doing it.
Wendell Robinson is going to be. I don't want to say he's going to be Deebo Samuel Jr. next year, but I could see him making a big step. Like they were moving him all around. He was giving him all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
He went 6 for 50. I think he had one play that I called back. Darius Slayton 3 for 58 scored a touchdown. Like Saquon Barkley, but I mean he's rolling out and he's hitting these guys, and I just don't know if it's sustainable. I think it's definitely enough to get him to the playoffs, obviously at this point. But I don't know. Like watching that game, and I'm like, man, you should have lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Etienne, 140 or 114 yards. Like he had a massive game. Trevor Lawrence played well-ish, and they stopped. I mean, I don't know the final play of the game. I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Giants had to stop them at the 1 yard line. Trevor Lawrence
did see that.
Throws a dart, catches it, keeps him out. I don't know about the Giants. I don't know about the Giants. They won, but I don't know. I think they're a playoff team. I don't know if they win a playoff game. Now I'm flopping. Maybe I'm overreacting. We can get into that in a little bit too. But I guess the true test is going to be when they play Dallas and they play Philadelphia.
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously, as you know, division games are always the tougher ones.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everything like that. So
And I guess we'll stay in the division now, unless you have anything more to add to that game. But we've got Dallas and Detroit, which I also watched quite a bit of Dallas and Detroit.
This is really the only game I saw, and I only saw like the first half of it.
Now, Dak looked okay.
Second half, he looked a lot better.
Second half, he looked a lot better.
Because I was watching that first half going, what the... Like, I know he was going to be rusty, but, like, this was bad.
And his only touchdown came in the last... It was a minute 58 left or something, and it was a play action. But the Cowboys' defense...
The defense is super good.
Ooh.
Because, again, Jared Goff looked like the Jared Goff that should have left the Rams, and they just made... Oh, no. Oh, McKenna almost fell down.
McKenna, one of our co-hosts with Josh Allen, McKenna wobbled a little bit there. Dallas, it's like...
They held that offense in check again. I mean, no, Amon-Ra St. Brown went out with concussion early.
Well, I want to talk about that because...
DeAndre Swift, which is also really tough.
That was tough. Jamal Williams running hard. He's not...
They gotta give him the ball more.
They gotta do something.
He's a volume runner.
He is a volume runner. But Dallas's defense, I think, at this point is legitimate. I don't think anybody didn't think it was legitimate. I watched these games, and Pollard just looks so much better than Zeke.
Yeah, but Pollard is not the polished running back that Zeke is. Pollard doesn't do the pass blocking. He doesn't do the he doesn't do the things like that Zeke does, which is the only reason why Zeke has a job still on that team. Because there's no other explanation for it.
It just still kind of boggles my mind that Zeke gets so many carries. And, I mean, I guess also, too, you don't want to run Pollard into the ground. But, I mean, I just watched that game, and I'm like, Pollard just looks like so much better, and then they jam Zeke at the goal line to get him his touchdowns, which is fine, whatever. But you don't want to put the wear and tear. I really like for Detroit. Detroit's defense is bad. Yeah. But Aiden Hutchinson looks real good.
Yeah, he does.
That was the number 2 pick, or the number 2 pick. He looked really good.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to look it up quick. So Zeke, 15 carries for 57 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. Tony Pollard, 12 carries for 83 yards. Yeah, almost 7 yards a carry.
If you haven't figured out at this point, you hammer Tony Pollard's over in every single game. Because when they have it set at 30...
That's a free sports bet, right?
Like, come on. Yeah, the kid's averaging, 50 yards a game at this point?
And I know Chark's out, but...
Yeah, that's big for him.
All of a sudden, until probably next year, they'll have Jameson Williams back. He's out. I think he's out for the year. They already ruled him out, but he's on the... physically unable to perform. They just pulled him out. Yep. But Hawkinson, so Detroit has some pieces.
I like Hawkinson a lot.
Hawkinson's I think he's a very good tight end.
Ever since the Rams went to the Super Bowl with Goff, though, after that I lost faith in Jared Goff.
And so Jared Goff was 21 of 26, 228 yards, 2 really bad interceptions, and the first interception to Diggs, it looked like he dropped it. Same thing, I think Hawkinson had a fumble. Looked like he dropped it, or it looked like his knee was down. I think the refs were strongly in Dallas's favor, but are we done with Goff? Is this his last year? Is it? I mean, I guess also...
especially at that contract, it's got to be. He's getting paid unbelievably high money right now.
He's getting paid unbelievable money. Amon St. Brown, I want to talk about that too. So Amon St. Brown kind of gets an uppercut to the back of the head. I mean, he hit him in the forearm, wasn't intentional. So they initially ruled him out with a concussion. And then they took it back and said he didn't have a concussion. He had ataxia, which was concussion-like symptoms without having a concussion. And then all of a sudden today I saw Yahoo say, he was out with a concussion. Are we turning? Is this Miami Dolphin thing shaking the league? Is this where we're going to be? Because I read it, and then I had to double check it to make sure that I actually read what I thought I read.
I didn't know any, but when I saw the play, I was like,
I mean, he got up, he was stumbling. The guy was clearly dizzy. His brain was shaking a little bit.
But you look at that play and you go, oh, that's not that hard of a play. That shouldn't have been a concussion. Right. Do these helmets fucking stink? I don't see any other explanation for it at this point because there's a lot of routine hits that these guys are getting, and then all of a sudden they're 18 beers deep. Like, what happened?
I mean, I know the back of the head is a dangerous place to get hit. Obviously, at this point, we have that, but...
Do you know how many times I've seen these guys get slammed on their backs of their head, and they get up and they're...
Because St. Brown got up, and he was clearly not... He was standing there, but you were like, oh, he was down for an extra 5-10 seconds. Yeah, and he kind of got up, and he was kind of wobbling a little bit.
I understand, but then, again, the same thing like it was with Teddy last week. We're flip-flopping.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we never had any concussion symptoms, all this. It's like, Just say you did, please,
What-
because
yeah,
right
what's-
now you're just making yourselves look bad.
And we need to figure the league needs to figure something out because this is just it's getting a little wild. Sooner or later, it's going to cost the team a game, or it's going to cost somebody like Tua, where the brains are scrambled. Now, for Detroit, where do you go for Detroit? They started off the season highest scoring team in the league, fell off a cliff. That maybe a cliff is an understatement of what they fell off of. Dan Campbell can get them fired up. He can get them whatever. Do you fire him at the end of the year?
No, I can't.
Do we fire Jared Goff at the end of the year?
I think you got to get rid of Jared Goff.
That
I
defense
personally
is horrific. I mean, like that defense couldn't stop anything. Like I don't know where they go.
Their defense was terrible last year. They really didn't improve their defense. Aiden Hutchinson, yes.
No.
But who else did they get?
No. Something that I like to
address it.
I try to look at long term as well. Like Okuda's playing better. Like Okuda actually looks like a top.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he does.
Hutchinson looks pretty good, but I mean,
Okuda has looked good. He does look good.
Well, they got that rest of that team. I'm like, whew. But so if you keep Dan Campbell, right, you gotta take a quarterback, right? You're gonna have to take a quarterback.
Absolutely, because you can't.
Are you married to Dan Campbell for the next say 2 to 3 years? Because if he brings in a quarterback that's his guy, you kind of gotta let him ride or die with that quarterback. Because then because we've seen it way too many times, guys come in. Cliff Kingsbury there didn't want Josh Rosen, takes the first overall pick, grabs Kyler Murray, and all of a sudden you are now married to him. So
I think he needs something like that because if you look at that team last year,
they played hard.
Yeah, they covered the spread in 13 straight games or something like that. Like
they were horrible in close scoring games. They were absolutely horrible. But I just thought about it in my head. Earlier today, I was like, do you keep Dan Campbell?
I think you have to.
Is it a good story?
I think you have to. He's proven himself enough. At this point, I think you start looking at Jared Goff, and you start looking at who the hell the D coordinator is, because what is going on over there?
You're going to need some help on defense, because, I mean, that's you look at their team and their defensive side, and you're like,
You've got some studs. You got like a handful of studs.
Right, and I mean Hutchinson's a good player, but I mean this is his rookie year. Like he'll eventually get there, but he's not going to do a whole lot for you this year. I mean maybe towards the end of the season he'll figure it out. But
that defense needs to get figured out immediately.
Yeah. So let's move on. New York Jets, because we spent a lot of time on the Detroit Lions there. We got the New York Jets, the Denver Broncos. I'm going to the Jets now 5-2. Breece Hall goes down with a torn ACL.
That's tough.
That was a tough one because he had that big run that basically helped seal the game. Yeah. Obviously because Denver worst coached might be one of the worst coached teams I've ever seen in my entire life. And I want to talk about that if you want to talk about it later. And now I don't know if I ever remember this horrible coaching in the NFL. Like absolutely abysmal. Like I thought Denver. They were kind of in the game, and they gave up the big run, and they couldn't put anything together. But I mean,
no Russ Willie though, right?
No Russ Willie, no. Brett Ripien, or he was in there, and I watched a lot of that game. And
I mean, Russ stinks, but at least he's been an NFL quarterback and has played at a high level at one point in his career. So I mean, there's that, and that Jets defense is no joke.
Well, Sauce Gardner is legit. That is about as legit.
That was one of my favorite picks in the entire draft. This past year.
But again, I don't know where we want to go with this, but they're basically the Jets and the Giants are very similar. They're just turning the ball off, handing it off. The defense is playing pretty good, and they're just waiting for the other team to basically screw up. It's basically like I feel like what I'm watching. I don't hate that comparison. And I can't believe these teams are so inept at coaching. Like I can't figure this out. I don't remember coaching ever being this bad. I like what the Jets are doing. Yeah. Wilson's going to have to throw the ball at some point.
See, I'm more confident in Daniel Jones than I am in Zach Wilson.
So Zach Wilson had 4.7 yards per attempt. Yeah.
And Zach Wilson is far better weapons than Daniel Jones does at this point. It's not even close.
And I saw Elijah Moore retracted. He's like, maybe I don't want to get traded now or whatever. So he was reporting back. But
I would have sent him out the door at this point. Goodbye. See you later.
I mean, but that's a tough situation. He's a second round pick. He played really well last year, but the Jets kind of are like, hey, you know what? We're going to play good defense. We're going to run the ball. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said with that. And I mean, I like what the Jets are doing. They could be a playoff team. Like I don't know if anybody would have thought that. I mean, they lost Hall, which hurts. Traded for Anderson.
At this point, it looks like they might They might win the division at this point.
Get over the Bills?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
forgot about the Bills.
Over our boy Josh Allen here.
Fuck you. Goodbye.
But I think they can make. I think the way the league is right now with the horrible coaching, like play good defense, you return and hand the ball off.
Yeah.
I think we're in good shape.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to skip 2 because we're going to go back. There's 4 games we're going to cover. Miami, Pittsburgh. I don't really think there's a whole lot to cover there. Tua looked okay. He didn't get hit. We'll see what happens when he gets hit. Pittsburgh. This is a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
Their offensive line needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
I think
their
Harris,
receivers and their tight end. I love them. I love Najee out of the backfield.
Najee's he's playing okay. Their Warren's playing okay. Their offensive line's really bad. I think they got to move Claypool out because now they got no time to throw. Pickens and Deontay Johnson are the future there.
Yeah.
There's so many teams, Ravens, Green Bay. There's teams that need wide receivers that can do things with the ball. I think you move Claypool out. Don't pay him. Move him out.
Yeah.
You're right now, Pittsburgh's at a luxury where they have 3 legitimate weapons. I like Freiermuth.
I love Freiermuth out of
their
tight end
offensive
slot.
line is horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't understand how some of these general managers can field these offensive lines and be like, yeah, I'm comfortable with this, or hey, I still have a job after this year because we got a rookie quarterback. Like you're doing such a disservice. And like I said, Miami, that was a very low-scoring game. Miami, we'll see what happens with Miami because when Tua has to play against a playoff team, and when he takes a big hit, we'll see what happens with him.
Because there's a couple pieces on defense that I really like. I like Edmonds. The safety out of I like him and Minka up top of the safety.
Oh yeah,
I love them. Yeah. TJ's still got to come back.
I mean, when TJ comes back, that's a top 10 defense.
Yeah,
they have a playoff defense. Their offensive line is so bad, and Pickett's got a lot to learn too. I mean, they're kind of letting him go out there and sling it around.
I wanted to see him win that game so bad.
So did I.
So bad.
So we'll jump over to the last game before we get into I'd say the big 4 that I wanted to cover. So Chicago, New England. Again, I mean, the Bears can't throw the ball. Justin Fields, you got Herbert, you got Montgomery. You know they're going to run the ball. We have New England.
240-something yards?
Oh,
New England gave up?
New England
on the
gave
ground?
Up,
that's college numbers. That's like what Ohio State puts up on Appalachian State.
So Chicago Bears, so you had Justin Fields 14 for 82 and a touchdown. Herbert 12 for 62. Montgomery, 15 for 62. And then Pettis had the long run, the 29, 1 for 29. You know what the Bears... So, we might... I don't know...
Fields can't hit somebody 5 yards in the flat. You think that they're going to throw the ball?
And then it's
not that hard to figure that out.
Also, too, obviously, I think everybody saw the stat today that Belichick is 72 out of 82 without Brady. 72 wins, 82 losses. Quarterback controversy in New England. You got Zappe. You got Mac and Cheese Jones.
I didn't think they were going to pull Mac and Cheese, and then when they did, I was like, "Oh, all right." But then Zapp comes in, immediately gets a touchdown, and then completely fell apart.
Well, he had back-to-back touchdown drives. Then it was the wheels were off the bus.
Yeah, I don't know what happened after that.
So and that's I think we have a couple things to talk about. Like Ramondre Stevenson, horrible. Like Harris came back 3 carries for 8 yards. Like hand it off.
That's what Belichick has always done
and
too. But I mean, it didn't. Their defense stopped nothing.
How did a Bill Belichick defense not stop Justin Fields and I'm going to say and company? But how do you let Justin Fields drop 33 on you? I mean, I know the interceptions help the offense out quite a bit. I don't
still
know.
A lot though.
And now, are we panicked? If we're the New England Patriots, are we panicked? So for the first time now in, I guess, Bill Belichick, you have a negative quarterback controversy where you're going to have...
Yeah, it's...
I mean, who do you start? I mean, I think at this point you got to start Zappe because now you see all these reports coming out saying that Mac Jones is a prick. I mean, he didn't take his benching very lightly, but who would? You know, it's
especially since he just came off an injury. Like,
right,
if you were that concerned about him, why didn't you just start Zapp?
Right? Like I don't know.
If you thought this was going to happen, give him another week with the ones in practice and start Zappe.
And I think we're going to have. This is going to be wild because let's say you have the quarterback, right, and New England finishes poorly, which they're on their way to finishing poorly. He finishes poorly. Now you have 2 not very good quarterbacks.
I still like Mac.
You still like Mac Jones,
Yeah.
so you're starting Mac Jones next week. So I'm done. I'm pulling the plug on the mac and cheese experiment. I think
You're all done with Kraft?
Well, my problem is
Kraft
now
mac
at this
and cheese?
point, if you put Mac Jones in, and he doesn't play well, the entire crowd's going to be behind Zappy. Like, everybody's going to want to see
Yeah, but
him in there.
they just saw what happened this past weekend.
I think you let him have the next couple weeks, and if it doesn't go well, you could go back to Jones. I just don't know if you could go the other way around, because if Jones plays and he comes out and he goes 3-0 this upcoming weeks, they're done with him. The crowd's throwing stuff on the field. They're done, but we'll see what happens.
But the only thing is, though, we can't forget that. I mean, yeah, last year Mac was a rookie. He was just learning the system and everything
He
like
looked
that.
pretty well last year.
He knows how to read defenses. The kid still knows how to read defenses.
He was very good in college.
He was just missing throws.
Yeah.
It's not that he was making poor throws. He was missing throws.
Right. I think this is going to be wild. And at the end of the year, if you have no quarterbacks, you have Bill Belichick now. Obviously, this is going to be year 3 without Tom Brady, and he's not coaching well. Will he start to worry about his job, or is he there until he doesn't want to be there anymore?
No, because outside of this last game, the guy still knows how to put a fucking defense together. He still knows how to do all these things.
We'll see what
I'm not
happens.
super worried.
So we're not
about
worried.
that.
So we're putting that in the relaxed category.
Yeah, I'm more.
I know I actually jumped the gun on there for our new segment, but all right. So quickly, Seahawks Chargers. Are we buying the Seahawks yet? Are we buying Geno Smith as a Pro Bowl quarterback? Where are we going?
Don't say that. Please
Where
don't say that.
Where are we going here? Pro Football Focus and ESPN have him ranked absolutely absurdly high. They this guy's legit.
I can't.
I mean, DK Metcalf goes down, and he's still slinging it good. I mean, he throws
Marquise Goodwin. Who would have?
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
I can't remember the last time that guy was relevant.
It's been a while, right? So, are you buying the Seahawks? I mean, Walker looked real good.
Well, yeah, Kenneth Walker looks unbelievable.
I mean, are we buying the Seahawks? I mean, the Chargers have me worried, but this has kind of been the Chargers' MO. I really like the Chargers.
What happened to J.C. Jackson, by the way?
Oh, he's out for the season.
I know, but like, what happened before that? Even he looked like he didn't know what the hell he was doing out there. That guy was a top 5, if not top 10 corner last year, and he looked absolutely terrible.
Once we get to these other teams too, we could talk about that. But I mean, are we buying the Seahawks? Are they winning the West?
No.
Are they making the playoffs? Is Geno Smith a Pro Bowl quarterback? Kenneth Walker,
I might give you playoffs. I don't like it, but
right. We're getting in, but I mean, we're getting to the thing now. The New York Giants versus the Seahawks this week are the only game this week that has both teams winning record.
I've come to the conclusion now that just don't bet football, please, because right now with this, unless you're betting Tony Pollard's over for yards, just don't bet football because this is unbelievable.
I was really happy. I got in with the 3 points for the Giants Jaguars. Either way, I was looking good on that one. I was hyped. Chargers, are we panicked about the Chargers? I just don't know what they're. I feel like
isn't Mike Williams done for a long time?
Mike Williams Mike Williams hurt. Jackson's out for the season. I just feel like now
Keenan Allen still doesn't look like he's healthy.
The Chargers play down to their competition
every single week. It's unreal.
You look at their team and you're like, man, they should be pretty good. And they're 4-3 right now, so it's not like they're horrible. They're going to make the playoffs.
What's going on with that defense? I'm more worried about that defense.
I am worried about that defense.
Because Herbert's throwing the ball all over the place. Eckler looks incredible. Really, but that defense is getting. It doesn't matter what teams want to do. They're doing whatever.
You gave up 37 against Geno Smith and a rookie running back.
I know, and which is right now that's the number 1 scoring offense in the league. Hold on. If you didn't hear me, that's the number 1 scoring offense in the league. Geno Smith and a second round running back.
Say it louder for Josh Allen with the winner hat.
What are you doing?
What is going on?
What are you doing?
Is this the NFL now? Or is this wild? So
I don't understand how you. I don't get it. It
doesn't
doesn't make any sense.
I think I'm buying the Seahawks. I'm starting to turn around. Right now, I am the panic overreactor, but I'm buying them.
I'll give them a.
So
I'm half in.
I don't know if you watched the Kansas City 49ers game. 49ers defense gave up a lot of freaking points.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know if that's more with the 49ers or during the whole game, all I heard was, man, the Chiefs' offense is so much more dangerous without Tyreek Hill. I don't know if I'm buying that, but they're like, hey, we don't know what they're going to do now. I mean,
that is the thing. It's Hardman 1 week. You got Juju the next week.
Kelsey has 4 touchdowns a couple of weeks ago, and then you have
MVS still stinks. But who could have seen that coming? MVS can't catch a football as a receiver,
and you have 3 running backs on you're rolling out. You don't know what to expect from any of them. Yeah. I mean, they all gets the ball. They all can run the ball.
Oh, and Juju said that the reason why the offense is clicking now is because they were playing Warzone this past weekend. And
is Kyler? Is that you? I mean, that's the
except I think Patrick still looked at the playbook a little bit.
Right, I think he still studied, but
he said that
City looked real good. He
said
they lost to the Bills, but
Juju, MVS, Kelsey, and Mahomes won 4 straight in Warzone. Is that the recipe to success? Maybe. Kyler's playing by himself.
They're on a heater. Yeah, they're on a heater right now.
Kyler, get DeAndre in there. Maybe get a little Robbie Anderson involved. Some Zach Ertz.
Again, we're still early. I know we said it before the season. I think we're destined for Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, you better be ready.
Yeah, 13 seconds. Just
13
please
seconds.
Remember that this time.
And I think they're destined for that. The 49ers, they just traded.
That's still the NFC West.
How do you feel after watching that game? We're going to get into the other two here in a second. So they trade for Christian McCaffrey.
God, we're talking a lot of football.
We got a lot of football. We got a lot of football to cover. I mean, they just traded for Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's a trade deadline. We got a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Give up 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th of the next year. I mean, they traded all their picks for the Lanes. I don't think they have any picks at this draft coming up.
Yeah, what do they have, a 6 and a 7 for next year?
Maybe if they have that. I mean, you went all in. You're 3 and 4. You're only a game out of first. You did have the number 1 defense. I mean, I think there's a couple teams that leaped ahead of them just because they dropped 44. Are we panicked about the 49ers, and how brilliant was that trade for the Carolina Panthers to get 4 picks? I mean, I think we'll get into that later, whether or not the value is there, but
the Panthers just need picks.
The Panthers just needed picks. I mean, I think they were just going for quantity. I mean, I know a lot of teams allegedly offered. Apparently, his buddies, the Bills, offered a first. I don't know how true that is. We don't. Of course, it comes out afterwards. Apparently, the Rams were offering a first in Cam Akers, and that got turned down. So I think Carolina's looking for picks.
Yeah, if that's what they were looking for, they absolutely struck gold here because
right, and especially now all of a sudden, I mean, Garoppolo looks all right. I mean, it's we'll see what the
tough game for Jimmy this game.
Jimmy G had a tough one.
He's not used to throwing as much as he needed to this past week because usually they're in games more. And I think Christian McCaffrey, they bought in for Christian McCaffrey because they're gonna get the 3 or 4 games this year where he's going to go 150 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns man, what an absolutely wreck a game.
But what an investment. They have 2 third-round picks. They got Christian McCaffrey. They got Mitchell. I mean, they put a lot. The Sermon, they put a lot of picks into the running backs.
Yeah.
Get blown out by Kansas City. I still think they have a chance at the division.
I think NFC West give me them for that division. Right? I think book it. That's your NFC champion. So NFC West champion.
We'll get into we'll combine this because how much time have we gone through here? Where are we at here?
So I had to start a little late because we had the whole debacle over here. So
we're
about 43 minutes.
Okay, so we'll quickly get into the Washington, Green Bay, Carolina, Tampa Bay. The Packers and Buccaneers should not have lost that game. Carolina, they're mailing it in. They traded away Anderson. They're playing for their jobs for next year. You're letting Donta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard go off against you. Commanders, you're letting Taylor Heineke. I don't think he's bad.
I like Heineken.
I know, so do I. Are we now officially at the point, and this will move us into the next segment where we're going to panic or relax. Are we panicked with your boys, the Green Bay Packers offense and defense, because after the first quarter, they struggled to stop the Commanders. I mean, they had the pick six. Campbell's still pretty good. Where are you on the panic, or are we relaxed? Where's Aaron? Where's your buddy, Mr. Rogers? Relax. Where are you right now?
Right now, it just seems I'm like a record at this point. Like, I just keep repeating myself. Hey, it's not that 21 times again. Can somebody talk to LaFleur and be like, hey, you have the best running back tandem in football. Give them the ball.
I mean, Aaron Jones 8 for 23, A.J. Dillon 4 for 15, and that was it. That was their running. That was it.
Are you kidding me? Like, and I think Jones touched the ball another 7 times in the past game.
Right,
which
yeah.
That part I do like.
Right.
But, run the ball.
He had 9 for 53 and 2 touchdowns.
Run the ball.
Wow.
That's what we need to be doing right here.
So are we
especially if Rodgers is coming out and saying, again, we've got double-digit mental mistakes out there on the field. You know who's probably not doing those mistakes? Those 2 guys in the backfield.
And
that's my guess. Those guys in the backfield aren't the ones making the mistakes.
So Aaron Rodgers, I looked it up. Pro Football Focus has him playing decent, like above average.
He's playing well.
ESPN has them the quarterback rating for 26. So they're saying that he's not playing well. I was watching NFL. We're watching ESPN. We're watching all these places. It seems like the book's out on Green Bay right now. It's trying to make them throw it deep.
Yeah.
It's trying to make them have 5, 6, 7, 8-yard passes and just move the ball down. You have to play almost perfect because if you're turning the ball, getting stuffed, you're throwing a 2-yard pass. All of a sudden, you're 3rd and long.
Yeah.
You can't. They're not.
They didn't convert a 3rd down, if I'm not mistaken, in that game.
They need a wide receiver that can do some damage, or they need some wide receiver. Watson or their 2nd-round pick was inactive. He didn't even play. He didn't play.
Yeah, he's been inactive too for a couple games now.
You need someone to stretch the field, or someone's got to do damage underneath. Chase Claypool. I think I'm full panicked at this point myself. I'm
75%. Towards the panic side. So we got 0 as the relax. I'm 75%. I keep creeping more and more this way.
So they're 3 games out of first place right now, which is there's still a lot of football left.
Yeah.
I think I'm officially at the panic.
Rodgers a 4-time MVP for a reason.
Because
I would like to say that he's going to figure it out at some point and to be like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and they will figure it out. But as the weeks go on and we look bad every single week, I start to move farther and farther towards this panic.
And they're losing to teams that they probably shouldn't be losing to. I don't know. Right now the number 7 seeds the Rams. Yeah. So they're the last playoff spot is the Rams. So they're only, I guess, 1 loss behind right now because the Rams had a bye week. Yeah. But man, they need something. Like, I'm calling up Pittsburgh. I'm like, what do you want for Claypool?
I'm calling Carolina.
Carolina. I think at this point, depending on what you heard out of Carolina, is they want 2 to 3 first-round picks for DJ Moore. Ooh. They turned down 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. I think they're happy with the young guys that they have. Yeah. I think you're going to need something to really get them to sell it at this point. Yeah.
Claypool might be that guy then.
Claypool might be the guy, right? He might be the guy. He's cheap. They could fit him under the cap. All of a sudden now you have that slot guy who's going to be a pain in the ass.
Give me Claypool and OBJ on that team.
I think that vastly changes their offense. Yeah. Panic or relax. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. We didn't get to them yet. They could not stop.
We've got so much.
So much. They could not. We did a couple of these already. So This is really the last big one. Is Brady, Buccaneers. Vita Vea absolutely getting smoked off the line. Pro Football Focus has him rated horribly. ESPN has him rated horribly. If you can't stop the run with Chuba Hubbard, and they're just not scoring. Right now they're first in the division at 3-4, and they're only 1 game ahead of Carolina. It's 2-5. Yeah. That might be one of the worst divisions of football. But I just don't know. Man, I'm panicked right now if I'm Tampa Bay. They can't protect Brady. Yeah, they don't have him. He doesn't really have a whole lot of time. For a 45-year-old quarterback, not a whole lot of time. Yeah. They can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. It's particularly good.
I don't know what's going on with that defense. It makes no sense to me. That defense should be absolutely blowing people off the ball, and they're just not doing it.
I think it does go to show. Vita Vea had a lot of elite years. 3-4 elite years, and now.
But even that linebacking core, I still think is the best in football. And yet they're not there on the defensive side. They're absent.
Foreman, 15 of 118, Hubbard, 9 of 63.
You can't be doing
They were just running wherever they wanted to. And for a team that can't score, that was, that was a lot. He had a big touchdown pass to DJ Moore, where it looks like they're focusing the offense around DJ Moore now to spread things out. But are you panicked with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I'm in full panic mode. Maybe I'm just easily panicked. Maybe my composure is low.
I'm less panicked about them than I am about the Packers, just because that division stinks.
Yeah, and it's Brady. Their offensive line's got to play better. But yeah, I think I'm panicked with the Buccaneers. They're going to win the division because Atlanta, Carolina, and Saints can't win it, right?
No, they can't. There's no way.
But I think that covers football. Unless there's anything else you want to add for the week.
No, I think that's That was the most we footballed in.
Well, that was a lot. You had trades. We had some sus injuries.
There was a lot of stuff that happened.
There was a lot of stuff that happened this week. So for the final few minutes here, let's talk about baseball. Right, we're getting into big baseball. The Philadelphia Phillies kind of handled the Padres. All those games were really close.
Yeah, no, they would.
Same thing though on the other side. Not really. I mean, is there anybody playing better than Houston right now? They've won 7 straight postseason games.
Struck out the Yankees 50 times in 4 games.
That's a lot of strikeouts, and I know there's a lot of people complaining analytics, all this other stuff, like
the roof being open. The roof being open.
Roof's open.
That's all done.
You're putting Michael K's playing hype videos of showing the Yankees blowing the lead to the Red Sox. I don't know. I don't know if that was a real thing, but
it was. I watched the video today.
But I mean, at this point, Astros.
Aaron Boone's got to go.
Aaron Boone's got to go. He's not a very good coach. I mean, I don't think he's a very good coach. Judge, we'll see what happens with him.
I think Judge is gone.
You think Judge is gone? So, I mean, it sounded like his press conference, he wants to be a Yankee. It sounded like he wants to stay a Yankee. After his series, he's holding up the Yankee thing. Looks like he still wants to be there. I saw that the Giants reportedly came out, said they're going to have an offer that the Yankees can't beat. The Dodgers are in on it. The Mets will be in on it. I'm hearing the Blue Jays. I mean, you got all these teams that are big money spending. The Yankees outbid everybody, but it's also too if the Yankees
they didn't want to do it the first time, they're not going to do it now. That's the way I look at it.
And if the Yankees don't outbid everybody, where do you go? All of a sudden, you look at that team without Judge.
Yeah,
they don't make the playoffs.
You got a lot of work to do. I mean, what a tough situation that is. I mean, I think they got to back up the Brinks truck, and if it's 10 years, $350 million, if that's the raise that you're going to have to suck up to pay him, maybe that's what it is. Because he turned down 7 years, $213, and he wanted 7 years, $230, whatever it was. Man, what a mistake that was. Could you imagine they're doing it over $20 million?
I mean,
at the beginning of the year.
It sounds like funny money, but I mean, whatever you resign him for.
When you're already going to pay him $200+ million, what's $20 million?
And especially all these other teams now, like a lot of people, I guess if they want to look at it, don't want to look at it. If he goes to the San Francisco Giants, how many Aaron Judge 99 jerseys are flying off? They're going to make money on it. So if they could pay him $400 million, they'll make money on it.
Yeah.
The Padres. On the other side, they're done.
I like them for next year.
Their GM came out and already said, "Hey, Soto's our guy. We're keeping our guy."
Which they should.
They're a young team. Their backup plan was Tatis Jr. Obviously, that didn't.
He's going to be out in center field next year because I think Kim stole that shortstop job from him.
And
Kim played unbelievable.
And he's unbelievable. Really good contract. Very good defensively.
Probably top 5 defensively at the shortstop position.
He's up for a Gold Glove this year. I mean, I know that's kind of whatever, but Tatis is probably looking. Maybe you can stick him out in right field because Myers is going to be gone. We'll see if they bring Josh Bell back.
Soto's a lot of right field though.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. So you could stick
left field.
You could stick him wherever. You could stick him profile. You can move him around. I mean, Grisham. We'll see what happens.
If you want some sort of formation of Tatis, Grisham, and Soto out in the outfield, I think you got a pretty good outfield.
Right, and I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked. Cronenworth has played a little bit of first base. I wouldn't even be shocked if they try to switch him over to second base, which apparently wouldn't be as bad on his shoulder. I don't know, because he had another wrist surgery, another shoulder surgery. Yeah. I mean, a little worried. The Padres fans should be a little worried about him, but I mean, all of a sudden next year, you look at that lineup and you're like, oh man! I mean, you basically are swapping Tatis for Will Myers and all, and then that
seems like a pretty good swap to me.
We'll see what other moves they make, but I like them for the future. But man, Bryce Harper playing right now. He's the playoff MVP. He's absolutely murdering the ball. Gets the big home run to send him to the World Series,
which he should have. That was the biggest moment of his career, and I absolutely love it.
I don't know about you, but I mean, how do you bet against Houston? I mean, they haven't lost. They're pitching well. They're hitting well.
Their pitching is unbelievable.
I mean,
I've said it that they got 6 guys that they could look at and go. I realistically think they could start a different pitcher every game of a 7-game series and probably win.
And I mean, and then
that's unbelievable.
I mean, and then all you got to think too, like you're gonna have to beat Verlander twice. You're probably gonna have to beat Valdez twice if you want to win if you want to win the World Series. You got to beat their ace. You got to beat their number 2. I mean.
And they got a good 3-4.
And I mean, like, right. And then you got, like, was it McCullers? Like, he played very well. I mean, Verlander struggled in one of the starts, but then it's like Christian Javier, 6 2/3, picks up a win.
Yeah, if you got Verlander, Valdez, Javier, and McCullers,
man, that's
good luck.
Some pitching.
Good
that's
luck.
Some pitching, and then obviously they're batting.
I'm gonna argue though that Wheeler and Nola are a better 1-2 than Houston has.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair. I think that's going to be a nice battle. I mean, I just think at this point, though, right?
I think that Astros bullpen dominates.
I mean,
the
Astros bullpen made the Yankees look silly. I mean, whenever they brought in the bullpen, the Yankees were like, "Oh, yeah, just strike it out now." You know, it's so. I mean, I think at just this point, I hate to say it, but until the Astros lose, like, that's it, right?
Dusty Baker and Trey Mancini have never won World Series, which would be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of cool,
but
right?
I would. Bryce Harper needs one.
Bryce Harper needs. I mean,
needs one.
He leaves the Nationals and they win, and then it's finally this is his redemption. I mean, he hits the big home run. He's like nobody wants to face him in the lineup.
You know.
I guess I think at just this point, until someone beats the Astros, I just don't. You know,
I can't see it.
I can't see it. I mean, they got the pitching. I mean, Phillies are playing red hot right now, and this is the time to play red hot. I like the Astros. I think I'm kind of rooting for the Phillies, though. I don't know. I don't
really know. I
don't really have a horse in the race.
No.
We knew the Astros were going to be good. I mean, the Phillies were kind of like, maybe they'll win this one. Maybe. Then they play off San Diego. I think we both picked them against San Diego. Just because they're pitch. I mean, again, the playoffs are so much different in baseball. All of a sudden, you don't have the fourth and fifth starters. The bullpen gets shorter.
Yeah, it's...
it comes down to your star players hitting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that kind of covers because baseball starts Friday, so we'll get 1 or 2, maybe 3 games in by the next time we have our future podcast. So we want to cover a little bit of basketball.
We got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Because Chat's not here.
Chat's not here, so quickly, panicked about the Lakers. They're 0-3. Westbrook said, oh, wait, we can't call him that. He gets mad, makes $400 million. He gets mad about that. Are we done with the Lakers for this year? Like, man, what a disaster that team is, right? I mean,
how do you have a team with LeBron, Russ, and AD, and you can't win a fucking basketball game?
Can't win one game, and then you bench Westbrook. Then the one they pull him out and they pull him in the fourth quarter. He keeps bricking it, and then it's like, and then our buddy Skip Bayless Scoop over there. It's like, oh yeah, LeBron misses the game winner, but it's like that team is just so bad.
I think most of this should be put on Anthony Davis at this point because you can't.
You gotta
LeBron's what 37 or whatever he is.
38, somewhere around there.
Anthony Davis was a superstar. What the hell happened?
And then he's fell off the cliff. Your Brooklyn Nets struggling a little bit. Are we panicked about the Brooklyn Nets?
I've been panicked since the fucking offseason about the Nets. They fucking stink.
Love John Morant. Love the Grizzlies this year.
Yep.
I don't know how far they'll get, but I do love them.
My Larry O.B. Team here beat the Warriors at home this past week.
Yes, because you're big on the Celtics, even with the backup coach, right? No. Who?
That's the Nuggets.
Oh, the Nuggets, right? Yeah,
the Joker.
They're 2-2 this year. I know you're big for them. Portland Trailblazers 4-0. I'm not buying the Portland Trailblazers. I think they're ready.
Dame could take over any game, though. Dame could take over any game that he wants to.
I just don't think he's one of the worst defenders in the league. He's playing hot right now. I think they fall off the cliff. Obviously, Golden State looks like they're pretty good.
Yeah. Golden State looks very good. The Mavs, I love the Mavs. I love the Suns.
Mavs look pretty good. We'll see what happens if the Pelicans can stay healthy because right now they're 3-1. They kind of look like a team. But
speaking of concussions, there's a couple concussions on that team.
That team is stacked top to bottom. They just have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
They got Valanciunas, Zion, Ingram, C.J. McCollum.
Yeah.
You kind of look at the team and you're like, oh wow, that's a little scary. But I mean, Zion already had the scare. Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll cover more basketball in the upcoming weeks, especially when baseball falls off.
Yeah, and this was a lot of football. I wasn't expecting to be able to talk for 45 minutes about football. 50 minutes.
And there's probably more that we forgot about.
Yeah.
I mean, now we have a bunch of, and I don't even know. It's not really football related, kind of, but we have a lot of players now leaving leaving his agency.
Oh, yeah.
And that's starting to make a little bit of waves because all of a sudden, all of these players are pulling out of their contracts, But yeah, I think that's it. I think we have to call it for the week. I mean, that was a lot of football, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again, Adam Stone.
J_Brunette 15.
J_Brunette 15.
There you go.
Yep. Josh, thank you. McKenna, thank you. We will see you
Surprised
guys.
McKenna didn't fall down. It was
Right.
old.
We'll see you guys next week.